Ranking all 20 Super Bowls since the year 2000. The Super Bowl is the ultimate game. However, Getty Images. The Ravens dominated a Giants team that was completely outmatched and outclassed. Big Blue's lone high. The first snap whizzed by Peyton Manning's head for a Seattle safety, and the blowout was on and on and on. The Denver defense put on a show, forcing Cam Newton into a miserable game. Denver notched, how do you say, wipeout? The Bucs dominated. The sixth Super Bowl ring for New England was far from a classic. Defenses were at Devin Hester took the opening kickoff 92 yards for a touchdown for Chicago, which actually led 14-6 before Indy rallied. Kelvin Hayden. This was not as close as the final score made it seem, because the Eagles scored a TD in the final 2 minutes to make the margin 3 points. However, Aaron Rodgers outdueled Ben Roethlisberger, throwing for 304 yards and 3 TDs as the Packers opened an 11-point lead and held on late. A Mason Cross. The game saw a weird safety called on Tom Brady for intentional grounding on a long pass to give the Giants a 2-0 lead. New England scored. Everything was going in the Ravens' favor, and then the lights went out in the Superdome. Colin Kaepernick. Whether Ben Roethlisberger scored was the big controversy. Willie Parker ran. The Big Easy celebrated as Drew Brees and New Orleans won their first Super Bowl. Sean Payton. Hep 7. XXXVI. The beginning of the Tom Brady era. The sixth round pick. Eagles Nation rejoiced as Nick Foles led Philly over the vaunted Patriots. The Cardinals had the lead, and the Kurt Warner storybook was going to have another chapter added to it. Then, Eli Manning, David Tyree and Plaxico Burress all had a hand in stopping the Patriots Express from having a perfect season. Malcolm Butler saves the day with an interception at the goal line in the final seconds. People still wonder, 1 yard short of forcing the first overtime in a Super Bowl is what the Titans came up. What are the odds of the mother of all Super Bowl comebacks? Bill Belichick.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.